Hi, this is Science Month, so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what science is. So, and there are people have different opinions. My belief is that science is a process that people use to gain understanding about the universe around them. And there's a scientific method. There are slightly different processes in different fields. A biologist might approach science a different way than a physicist, for example. But I think things that the different disciplines have in common is probably whatever branch of science you might happen to be in, you start off with, you just observe things. You look at what's going on around you. You are basically trying to collect some data, and then typically you look for patterns in that data. If something happened the same way under the same conditions over and over again, and use that looking for the patterns to try to build a model to explain what's going on in nature. For example, we provided you with a video describing a little bit about the sun spectrum. And, so we think that visible light carries energy from the sun to the surface of the earth. And we think that different colors can absorb and reflect different parts of the visible spectrum. And we think that the red light end of the spectrum is lower energy than the blue-violet end of the spectrum. So that's a model. And then once we get a model, we want to know how well the model fits what's really going on. So typically we test the model. And part of testing that model often involves writing a hypothesis. What do I think is going to happen if I set up an experiment? And a hypothesis, there are two main things. You would like it to be as specific as possible, and it also has to be testable. Let me think of an example. For example, I could say, oh, I think that Newton was smarter than Einstein. Well, it's certainly a question or something I might consider, but it's not anything I could test. I can't give like Newton and Einstein a IQ test and see who shows up with a higher IQ, or ask them questions that they're not here. So that's not a testable question. So in this particular example, we're looking at sunlight, and I think in the other video, black t-shirt versus white t-shirt was discovered. So let's see. So maybe I could think about something. If I wear a black t-shirt, so for example, maybe I want to test this model that we're discussing in the other video. I could say, well, if I wear a black t-shirt and I stand in sunlight, then I'll feel warmer than if I wear a white t-shirt. Well, is this specific? Not really. I would say, well, what does warmer mean? What does stand in sunlight mean? Is this only about me, or is this like people in general? Is it about the shirt? Is it about the person wearing the shirt? So I don't think this is very specific. And is it testable? Well, the sort of the condition in here is the warmer. Well, how do I test that? I could give people a survey. I could stick thermometers on them. I don't really know. Good morning. So if I wanted to do something more specific, maybe I could say like a black t-shirt laying on the sidewalk in direct sunlight will register a higher temperature than a white t-shirt laying on the same sidewalk in the same sunlight. But then I would ask, what does a higher temperature mean? You know, if one of them, let's say, is 100 degrees and the other one is 100.1 degrees, is that high enough to say there's a difference? So often in science, we'll use language that we borrow from statisticians, like, is the difference between the two temperatures significant or not? So you almost can't get too specific when you're writing a hypothesis. Maybe I would say, like, a black t-shirt laying on a sidewalk in direct sunlight in northeastern Pennsylvania will register a significantly higher temperature than a white t-shirt laying on the same sidewalk in the same direct sunlight. And then maybe I would go on and define what I mean by significantly different. Maybe it's 2 degrees more, 5 degrees more, maybe a percentage more. So I hope that gives you an idea of what we're looking for. And your task for this week will be to try to write a hypothesis about the temperature of the different colors of construction paper inside the laminated film. And I think that's all I've got. There are people staring at me, making me self-conscious. I don't know how to stop a video.